We're back, everybody, and surprise, surprise, I'm not on my own like I said I was going to be. I'm joined by the head wanker himself. Connor, you've joined us on the show tonight, mate. How the hell are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, as usual. Just jump on for a few minutes, say hello.
A lot of people were wondering, were you busy tonight? I think you can read between the lines of what I'm getting at there.
Yeah, busy.
Just while we have you in the chat, guys, can you let me know what Connor's audio level is like? So just hit me up and let me know if it's good, if he's loud enough, or if he's too loud. So Connor, give us a couple of sentences there. Maybe sing us a song, Mr. Barry O'White.
I can't be singing on here now. Just can't do that.
I see Sarah is in. Sarah, good evening to you. Evan's in. Good evening, Evan. Thank you guys for coming back, and apologies for the issues earlier on. We are testing some new tech which allows us to stream across various platforms, and obviously with new things comes new problems, so we will get this right, so bear with us. DMM says audio is strong. Someone says his voice is scary. I don't know if you guys are winding me up or if... So is the audio okay? So lash a few thumbs up there or thumbs down if you're having awesome quality. Brilliant, that's what we want to hear. Perfect, Connor. Maybe it's just your sexy ass voice has the right tones for YouTube and it just works with their output.
Yeah, who was saying the soulful tones yesterday? I think it was Sean. I think could be on something there.
Was also saying you were busy pulling your wire again.
No, pulling... Oh, sorry, yeah. Fuck's sake. No, that's fake news.
Brilliant. Let's get straight into the KARIUS chat with you then, Connor. The guys want to talk about KARIUS. The stream shows that we're here to talk about Loris Karius. You've seen what happened tonight. You've seen the reaction on Twitter. You've probably seen the reaction in the chat here because you were online looking at it all. What's your take?
I'm actually lost for words at this point. Like, I've defended Karius, but you just can't defend him after that.
Yeah, there is no defending him. DMM says all sounds like very calorific chaviness to me.
That's what I like to hear.
I actually seen the first Diet Chav comment on Twitter today when I was on there. Somebody says, Chav, we got a problem or something like that. I fucking love it. I absolutely love it. I love that people are taking on to this one. I told the guys earlier on that I did actually order some Diet Chav products today.
Yeah, you're saying that. That should be good.
So myself and Connor will be drinking out of Diet Chav mugs very, very soon. As we said, though, we don't push stuff, we don't push a sale stuff, but they are available on the Redbubble store. I'm sure Connor's probably put the link in there somewhere. If not, he'll lash it in a little bit later on. But we do have a few products on there, Connor, and they're mostly just for a laugh, to be fair. We're not like trying to make millions out of this or anything.
No, it's all a bit of a laugh, and there's some nice stuff on there if you want to have a look. I'll put a link in the description later on.
I genuinely do like that Diet Chav t-shirt. I'm not joking. Like, I bought it because I like it, not because I just want to show it off or anything. I really do like it. I think when I'm walking around Orlando with a t-shirt that says Diet Chav, people are just going to look at it and go, what the fuck? Is he like a Chav light, a Chav in training or something?
You should just like put a camera on you and walk around and see everyone's reaction.
Yeah, I've often thought about that. I mean, I could literally live stream my entire life. I could GoPro the shit out of this. I could go around and I could live stream Anfield Agenda 24/7, like, except when I'm sleeping, because I probably dribble and snore and nobody wants to see that stuff. Phil has said Liverpool have opened talks.
See what Junior said there?
No, go on, fill me in.
We went to the cinema earlier and genuinely asked for a Diet Chav.
Did you get it?
I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Tell them they should stock it. Tell them they need to fucking stock it. Tell them you burn the place to the ground if they don't stock it.
Might be a bit harsh.
Liverpool have opened talks with Stoke over a deal for Sheridan Shaqiri, who has a release clause of £13 million, according to the Telegraph.
Are they fairly reliable, or?
I mean, none of them are, if we're being honest about this. Like, James Pearce is starting to fucking depress me, by the way, Connor. I mentioned this to you earlier on in the WhatsApp group. I mean, he has been known as James Bad News Pearce jokingly for a while, but I think he gets off on this shit sometimes.
Yeah, the way he words things at times, you just know he's been writing that and he's thinking, oh, I can't wait for the meltdown now when they see this. And like he never brings any positive news anymore.
Yeah, he doesn't, does he? He just denies stuff. That's all he does. Like, and I love the play this James Pearce card that people have made up for Twitter. Yeah,
it's true. I'd say he's probably not allowed to say stuff anymore, though. I'd say if he probably does hear things, but the club have told him not to. Otherwise, he won't get any information anymore.
Must be a tough job for him to do, though. If he does get information on potential transfers or anything, and obviously him being a journalist, he's going to be like his gut is going to tell him that he wants to break stories and he wants to be the first out there with it. Now, to be fair to Liverpool, they do tend to give him not the exclusives, but the first access to the signings and stuff like that outside of LFC TV.
Yeah, him and Paul Joyce, pretty much, isn't it? They get first info when, say, the Keita deal broke last summer. I think it was Joyce first and then Pierce like a few minutes later. Them two seem to be getting it.
I think, I'll tell you what, we spoke last night about the Chav of the Night award for the comments, but there's been some belters already in here tonight. What was this one? Acterberg out fam was one that I seen a few minutes ago, which I loved, in relation to our little chat about Arsenal Fan TV the other night.
Yeah, that's a good one.
The junior said he loves him a Diet Chav, which you should as well, to be fair. Lubac reckons we should go on to Dragons Den with the Diet Chav.
Good show. I'm going to have to run there, sorry.
Yeah, no worries. No worries,
Right.
Connor. I will gladly jump into the chat here and get through as much of it as I can. I apologise if I have fallen behind, guys, but I will get into it. And thanks to Connor for joining us again. I know it was only a short period, but he was online helping me with the tech, so I thought I'd bring him in for a few minutes. It's just you and me now, guys. It's just us, so let's get through the chat. Louis says, hi guys, I think the goalkeeping coach should also take the blame as well. It's no secret that many Liverpool fans, me included I should say, think to ourselves that there has to be something up with the whole situation around John Achterberg, because I think the first goalkeeper he took over coaching, I think, was Pepe Reina after Xavi Valero left the club, and since that time I'm yet to think of a single goalkeeper that has improved his ability under John Achterberg. And obviously I don't work on his training ground. I have no idea what John Achterberg does or what he doesn't do. But we can only speak on what we see as fans and what we see on the pitch. And we've yet to see an improvement, guys, have we? Honestly, have we seen a single improvement of one goalkeeper under John Achterberg? Maybe we can say we've seen a little bit under Mignolet at times. Possibly we can say we've seen a tiny bit under KARIUS at times, because he did have a good few months last season, but it's all falling to shit. The whole house of cards is falling down, and I'm really upset. I'm really upset. I'm trying to be positive about the goalkeeper situation. I'm trying to come on here and say get behind the manager, because that's what I want to do as a fan. Obviously I love Liverpool Football Club. I love Jurgen Klopp. He's probably the best thing to happen to Liverpool Football Club in a long time, but we do want to see, we want to go into this season with positive vibes. We finished last season so strongly. Obviously what happened in the Champions League final was a travesty, but in general we finished last season really well. Everybody was on a high, the club was on the up and up, we were banging in goals for fun, and we wanted to go into this season full of positivity, trying to make that charge for the Premier League title, getting off to a good start, bringing in Keita, bringing in Fabinho. And look, I know Jurgen Klopp is no idiot. I'm sure Jurgen Klopp is more aware of the goalkeeper situation than any of us. But we got to bring somebody in. We have to. We cannot afford to waste 3, even 6 months till January trying to sort this situation. So again, let me know what you guys are thinking in the chat. I've tried to be as kind and as fair as I can about the situation here. I don't think you guys have ever seen me slag off KARIUS, because it's not my temperament. It's not. I try to support the players as much as I can, except for Simon Mignolet. I mean, I'm not going to make any bones about it. I do not like Simon Mignolet any way at all. Just don't even like looking at the guy. But with the KARIUS situation, it is fucking tough, isn't it? It is damn tough, because we're caught between two things. We want to support the manager. We want to support the guys on the field. But I think we can all clearly see that Jurgen has a problem there with Loris Karius. Right, so I'm going to get back to the chat and try and catch up a little bit. The junior says the Telegraph are usually reliable. The MM says James Pearce, my heart. A couple of people saying that the Shaqiri story is breaking all over Twitter. I hope it's true. We've seen what happened the other night. I mean, we were expecting Shaqiri to happen the other day, but it didn't happen. So fingers crossed it is true, and we do see something happening. But he put up a picture the other day, or a video of something, where he was just sitting down chilling after the World Cup. So you never know. Steve says, saw the goalkeeping coach. If KARIUS can't get motivated by Klopp, then nobody else will help him. Damo says, KARIUS spills shots, flaps at crosses, and is rash charging out and brings forwards down in the box without getting anywhere close to the ball. It's tough, guys. This is horrible. I'm looking through the chat here, and I can see in the way you're writing, some of you don't want to be negative. I'm sure, like you or like me, it kills you guys to post this. I've seen the horrible comments as well on Twitter, and I try and put those down to frustration at times, because I know the majority of people who are fans of Liverpool Football Club don't really feel that way. They want to support the club. They want to get behind Klopp, but this is a fucking tough one. This is going to be the biggest gamble of Jurgen Klopp's career, and I hate being on here talking about this. I mean, this is what, 3, 4, 5 nights in a row now we're on here talking about Loris Karius, and it's not great. Aaron says Karius has lost it mentally. Opposition players know if you hit the target with confidence, there's a good chance you're going to score. Case in point tonight when the Tranmere player just whacked it straight at him with the free kick. The Junior says hashtag Harry Maguire's head. I don't even need these earphones anymore, actually. I can take these out. Sarah says, I'll believe it when I see Shaqiri. And you know what, Sarah? That's pretty much where I am, mate, as well with this one. Phil says Shaqiri deal should be completed by the time the team fly out to the USA. That is probably, if it is going to happen, then yes, I'd agree with that, Phil, because I think Klopp has said a few times he'd like to get as much business as he can done before they head out on that tour. And that's not to say that the club won't continue doing business while we're over in America, but I'm sure Klopp would like to get as many people as he can in and ready for that pre-season tour. Steve says, regarding Karius, I'm glad it's happening now. I'd rather that than during the season. Of course, yeah, I'm fully with you on that one, but you kind of do think to yourself then, well, if he's doing this now, after what happened in the summer, what are we to expect with the season? I suppose none of us know, but it's not great. It's not great is all I can say. DZB says Citizen ready to put in a transfer if LFC's offer is a transfer request if LFC's concrete We'll start that again for fuck's sake. Citizen's ready to put in a transfer request if Liverpool's offer is concrete. Excuse me, apologies for my tongue-tied stupidness there. Escapado says if Karius can't handle the pressure in games, then he's no chance in the Premier League. He needs to be taken out of the limelight for his own good. And Hexes says, I don't understand why you start Danny Ward. Is that why you don't start Danny Ward, mate? Or do you rate Danny Ward? Apologies, I'm just picking this up incorrectly. I don't really know what you're saying there. So put it down in the chat again, let me know. Because I do like to have a chat about Danny Ward because it's an interesting situation. Ben says, it's got to be the goalkeeping coach. Alaji says, I think Butland would be a good goalkeeper. Not for me personally, mate. Not for me. I wouldn't like. I think there's better options out there than Jack Butland. But each to their own, and I do of course respect your view, my friend. James Shields says, get Schmeichel in and allow Karius more time, but don't start the season with the lad, please. Lubac says, imagine if we got Joe Hart. It would be like Karius in fucking stereo. If we got Joe Hart, wouldn't it? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine I would have to give up social media. I don't think I could even open up. I think if I open up my phone, it would literally explode in my hand. The Junior says, man don't dance. This man certainly don't dance. I can guarantee you that one. Damo says, Karius might have lost his head, but Joe Hart has lost his head and shoulders. Why would you do those fucking ads, by the way? I mean, I can't even imagine we would have got paid that much for those ads. The Junior says, big Shaq, big head. Aaron says, realistically, Craig, what are the goalkeeping options available to us? I know most will say we're better off with a ghost in goal, but who's available? I suppose, okay, Aaron, let's try and look at this realistically, as you've said, buddy. Gianluigi Donnarumma, definitely a realistic option. AC Milan are up to shits when it comes to the financial situation. They've brought in Pepe Reina. They've got to sell. They've got to bring in money. The club could be changing hands. They're fucked out of Europe next season. So I think that's a realistic option. I don't think Oblak is a realistic option. As much as people just say, go pay his release clause, get him to Liverpool. It ain't that simple. The keeper has to want to come to Liverpool Football Club. And I'm not sure if he does. None of us know. He seems quite settled there. He may well sign a new contract at Atletico Madrid. The next goalkeeper we could have a chat about perhaps is Keylor Navas. Whether you guys think Keylor Navas is much of an upgrade or if even an upgrade on Loris Karius, I'll leave that to your own judgment. But Madrid made no secret that they're probably going to bring in a goalkeeper. That may be Thibaut Courtois. That may well be Alisson. I feel it'll probably be Courtois. But then that frees up Keylor Navas to move on. Obviously Chelsea, we've just said they're going to move on Thibaut Courtois, so we can forget about him. Then we bring ourselves to Alisson. Alisson is very interesting because not only have we seen Real Madrid linked with Alisson, we've now seen Chelsea linked with Alisson. And if you're to believe what's going on in the newspapers, Alisson seems to want to sign for every fucking club under the sun except Liverpool Football Club. So again, what do you do there? Do you go to Roma? Do you try and pay silly money for him? Because you know Roma are going to want to try and get as much as they can for the guy. He hasn't had a fantastic World Cup. He hasn't gone out there and increased his value. If anything, Liverpool fans have looked at him in the World Cup and have more questions than they have before. And we've seen Buffon. Obviously Buffon's 40 years of age. He signed for PSG. So for me, the realistic options that I've gone through there would be Keylor Navas, Gianluigi Buffon, possibly Alisson, but I'm making that more improbable as time goes on. And then after that you have the English options, who I don't really want any of, and the Nick Popes, Jack Butland and stuff like that. So being realistic, mate, they're pretty much the options that I think are on the table. And then we've got the likes of Strakosha. If you wanted to go for an experienced goalkeeper, somebody who you're not looking to bring in and solve the problem for the next 5 years, then maybe somebody like Handanovic might be a good option. I think he's a good steady goalkeeper. We've seen Subasic, the Croatian keeper at Monaco. He's a decent option as well. So these are just off the top of my head, buddy. I've ones that I think are a little bit realistic. So I hope that helps. But either way, my answer still wouldn't be let Loris Karius start the season in goal. Joseph says, I don't want Casper, he's a Manx Brog. It is interesting though that his dad did play for Manchester City as well as Manchester United. Cameron says, I think Klopp has a soft spot for Karius because of the Mindslick. And you're right, Mindlink, excuse me, you're right, buddy. And he does, he brought him in, he's his boy. Loris Karius was brought to Liverpool by Jurgen Klopp, let's not forget that. But has he given him enough chances? I mean, Mignolet got enough chances. Do we think he's had enough chances? I think he has, to be fair. I don't think he's ever really proved himself and shown himself to be what we thought he could be. He's been okay. He had a decent enough patch last season. But is not making mistakes good enough? Is that what we're looking for? I don't know. I don't think so. I think we can go a little bit more than that. And this seems to be the summer where goalkeepers are available. Goalkeepers at the top level, which is very unusual. There hasn't been a big goalkeeper move in quite a few years. I mean, you can talk about Ederson going to Manchester City for 40 million quid or whatever, but at the time nobody was their heads weren't falling off going, oh my god, he's one of the top goalkeepers in the world and he's joining Manchester City. So it is unusual for these players to move, but in the summer where we've seen Cristiano Ronaldo move, we may see Gonzalo Higuain move. There's lots of talk about Mbappe, there's lots of talk about Neymar. Obviously Mo Salah's gone absolutely fucking nowhere. But like there are players on the move, big players on the move. So may we see other things spring into life now that Cristiano Ronaldo has moved? I don't know, but I hope so. Something needs to kickstart this transfer window. Will it be the end of the World Cup or will it be this big Cristiano Ronaldo transfer? Something will have to give because everybody's running out of time. What else have we got here? Craig, your thoughts on Harry Maguire's head? It's a wonderful thing, Harry Maguire's head. It's an absolute thing of beauty. I mean, of all the heads at this World Cup, his head has to be the headiest head of all the heads. I mean, I think England are 3-1, I think, to score a header tomorrow night against Croatia. And basically that will just entail somebody putting the ball into the box in a set piece, and that glorious head that is Harry Maguire will raise majestically like a wildebeest up into the air, and with one flick of that planetarium-sized head of his, just nod the ball through the goal, and England could be in the World Cup final. So I hope that answers your question on what I think of Maguire's head. Phil says, Liverpool in pole position to sign Sheridan Shaqiri. Player wants Anfield despite interest from elsewhere. Aaron says, I take Navas as a short-term option until Klopp finds his man. Not sure I'm willing to throw a 19-year-old in just yet. Wouldn't mind Areola / Trapp from PSG, who could be available after Buffon moved. Of those two goalkeepers, mate, I think Trapp is absolute shite. I've seen him make mistake after mistake after mistake when in goal, and I think Areola actually took his place at PSG, and I wouldn't really rate him either. But again, I can see where you're coming from, but would they be much of an improvement, and how much will they cost, I suppose? Steve says Madrid need to replace Ronaldo's 30 goals a season. They absolutely do, and I've no doubt that Madrid have something up their sleeves. No matter what happens here, Madrid know they're going after somebody. And I just want to know who the hell that is, and I hope it's nobody that wears a Liverpool shirt. because they can fuck right off. Johnny says, what's the story with Sadio Mane? All this Real Madrid bullshit. Well, look, they've yet to come to Liverpool with an offer that anybody knows of. I've said all along that from my side, I'm just trying to read between the lines here, I would look at this as either Sadio Mane's agent trying to hurry along a new deal for his player because they've seen Mo Salah and Bobby Firmino sign new contracts, and he's probably saying to himself, well, where's Sadio's contract? Sadio was part of that front three that broke records left, right and centre last season. Dude deserves a new contract. So I hope that that's the issue, because that's easily resolved. I hope that Real Madrid haven't come in or aren't getting in Sadio Mane's ear, because if it is the case, if Sadio Mane decides he wanted to leave, then we're kind of in a position where the window's ticking away, and if we have to move on a player, where are we going to get a replacement from? And I don't think the club are going to allow themselves to be bullied this time like they were for Coutinho. Well, I won't even say they were bullied for Coutinho. I think they just got to a point where Klopp felt he was more harm than good to the squad and to the changing room. So I'd be amazed if any of our big players leave. I think any players that leave Liverpool Football Club this summer are going to be because Liverpool Football Club or Jurgen Klopp want them to leave. I am Jono says, pretty much any goalkeeper except KARIUS for me. Okay, trying to catch up to the chat again, guys, so bear with me. Escapado says, Vardy calls Maguire slabhead. Steve says, I could see Madrid going for Mane. And I am Jono says Madrid will go for Hazard or Neymar. I think they're two very good shouts, mate. I mean, it's been kind of rumoured that they're going to be going for Neymar for the past 6 months, but Hazard has also made no secret of the fact that he would love to go and play for Real Madrid. So two good shouts there, buddy, and they're going to have to do something big. Losing probably the second most famous footballer in the world is a big hole to fill. Lubac says Maguire would knock out an elephant with his head, which is beautiful, just beautiful. Johnny says he fancies Croatia tomorrow, but would love to see England v France in the final. I'm actually back in England tomorrow personally. I think that Croatia are going to be mentally and physically fatigued after the 2 lots of extra time and penalties. They're not the youngest team in the tournament either, whereas England just look a nice, fresh, young team who haven't gone through a lot of the turmoil that Croatia have gone through so far. But look, you can look at that Croatia team and you can tick off boxes of quality everywhere. I just think England have another gear, and I fancy them to get to the final. But I think it's going to be a very, very... I think it's a 1-goal game between the teams tomorrow. But it's very, very interesting. Really interesting. I was very disappointed, actually, with the France-Belgium game tonight. And when I say I was disappointed, I was probably more disappointed with Belgium because they had a period in the first half where they had France on the back foot, but they never really looked like scoring. As sad as that sounds, I mean, as much praise as I've given Lukaku throughout this tournament, I thought he was very poor tonight for Belgium when they needed him. It seemed that De Bruyne and Hazard were having to drop deeper and deeper and deeper to find that space between the lines to pick up the ball from the defenders, and it just didn't work out for them. I mean, they had Fellaini on there. Chadley, I don't know why he started, to be fair. I know he scored the other night, but he'd be fucking awful. For me, all he did was hang out on the right hand side, pick up the ball, and instead of looking forward to try and make an attack, he just set back inside and pass it back to the defender again, or to the midfielder. He just did nothing for me in that team. But look, France are deservedly in the final. Kylian Mbappe is one scary ass dude. I mean, the talent that man possesses is absolutely disgusting. That pass that he put through, I think it was a Giroud he put through with a pass or something on the edge of the 18-yard box. That was just disgustingly beautiful. I think somebody's just seeing KARIUS' fuck up here. Connor says we're 9 subscriptions away from 1,300, guys. Just 9 subscriptions away. So if you can help us out and hit that subscribe button, if you're enjoying the stream, give us a thumbs up. If you're watching this on Twitter, if you're watching this on any other platform, actually, if you're watching this anywhere, wherever you're watching it, I hope you're enjoying it. Come across, subscribe to the channel. We hope you're enjoying it. I didn't realise you were that close to 1300, so that's awesome. Great news. And thank you to everybody who is in the stream tonight, and I hope you're having a good time. Squism says, Maguire on Umtiti's goal-winning header. Hold my diet, chav. Beautiful. That's what he's got to say. I mean, he's coming in. Do you know what's going to happen, actually? So they're going to give out the Budweiser award at the end of the game tomorrow, and the Diet Chav mascot is just going to walk in, slap that Budweiser award out of his hand, and just give him the Diet Chav trophy, which is what the players fucking want. I mean, we can go on about Ballon d'Ors and winning World Cups and all, but they all want the Diet Chav Cup. Phil says, thoughts on Mahrez to City? I was actually really shocked, Phil, to see that 60 million quid that they're paying for Mahrez was their record transfer fee. I think when you think of Manchester City, you just assume that they've paid more for players. But I think it's a good bit of business. People are saying that he's just going to go there to be a backup, but Manchester City, much like us, have an awful lot of games to get through in a very busy season. And they're going to need to rotate players. And being able to bring somebody like Mahrez in, if you're rotating, I mean, it's a good headache to have for Pep Guardiola, and I think it's a very good bit of business. He's a very, very good footballer who knows the Premier League, knows what it takes to succeed, and this is his one chance. This is the big move of his career. We have to remember, Mahrez, I think, if memory serves me correct, was playing lower, like second division football in France or something when he was picked up. So, yes, it's a great move for him. It's a good bit of business for Manchester City. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Jorginho or Jorginho, whichever way you want to pronounce that name. But look, I think it's good. I think once again Manchester City have just gone out and found an area that they felt they need to strengthen in and just done it. Just went and done it. So fair play to them, and it's made the task that little bit more difficult for the rest of us, hasn't it, who are trying to catch Manchester City. Thomas Boland says Neymar off to Madrid. Evan Guest says, out of left field, Liverpool are considering a surprise move for former West Brom loanee, Gregoritz Krychowiak, I think that's how you pronounce his name. He was, excuse my language, he was awful, Evan, wasn't he? That would be very surprising because he was really shit. I don't rate him at all. I thought he was one of the poorer players. That really is out of left field, buddy. Again, apologies for my language there. It wasn't aimed at you, Evan, but Jesus, that really is out of left field. Aaron says, I also think Kepa from Bilbao could be our De Gea, but think he signed a 10-year deal in January. I'm not sure our fans would wait for him to develop either. A lot of people, Aaron, were talking about Kepa, and I have to be honest and say he's not somebody I've seen very much of, if any of, actually. I have no memories of watching him, so apologies. But he certainly has been mentioned by a lot of people in the chat. Lubac says, Buffon was one of the best keepers in the world at 19 years of age, as was Casillas. Two both absolute legends. Absolute legends. Buffon is my absolute hero when it comes to goalkeepers. And obviously, I've told you guys before, that's the position I played growing up. Gianluigi Buffon, I've followed his career very closely, enjoyed every minute of it. And Casillas as well was one hell of a goalkeeper. There isn't anything in the game Casillas hasn't won. Obviously, he did tail off a little bit towards the end of his career, but amazing goalkeepers. Eduardo says, Percy from the Telegraph came out and said that we're in talks with Shaqiri. Hello, Craig. Good evening, Eduardo. Thank you for joining, buddy. I say good evening. I actually have no idea what time it is in the part of the world you're in or where you are, buddy, but thank you for joining the stream. There has been a little bit of chat about Shaqiri in tonight's stream, so it seems like it may be happening. It's good news as far as I'm concerned, particularly for that amount of money. So bring it on is what I say, and I hope we get it done soon. And let's see how he gets on. But look, 13 million, that doesn't buy you much these days, Eduardo, does it? So pretty good piece of business if the club get it done. Fluck Ramos says, getting a new keeper is paramount. There's no argument against that, whatever the cost. Look, buddy, you know I'm with you on that one. You know I'm there. I may not word it slightly the way you guys do at times, because I suppose I have to try and be a little bit calmer. Well, I say calmer. Wait until the live stream start. Wait till the watch along start. You're going to see a lunatic in action then. I mean, you guys might think I'm fun and jokes and nice and polite on here, but when we do the watch alongs and Liverpool start playing serious stuff, I think you're going to enjoy my reactions. As Connor has said, he's been waiting for the watch-alongs to start the whole summer, because he's had the I don't know if it's a fucking privilege or a nightmare, but he's watched games with me and I'm fairly lively, so I think you'll enjoy them as well. But I agree, mate, we do need a keeper. What else have we got? Maguire's head is coming home, says Louis. The junior says no Hazard to Madrid. Chelsea would be fooked. I think they're in a bit of fucking trouble anyway, aren't they? I mean, Conte is taking training at the minute, and Sarri's going to be the manager in the next week or two. So either way, it's interesting times at Chelsea, and you know what? I'm glad it's not us for a change. Let other people worry about shite like that, because we have good problems at this moment in time. I mean, if sorting out a goalkeeper is our biggest issue, then I'll take that over what we've had to deal with in previous years. Although, look, obviously I want it sorted, but I'll take that as a big problem. Lubac says we've at least 4 or 5 players that don't cut the mustard. Last time in the chat, buddy, let me know who you think they are that need to move on. If I'm going to name a few players for you that I think need to move on: Origi, Ings, obviously Markovic. A couple of the young guys actually could probably do with going out on loan. I'd say, and we're talking about loans, I probably would send young Ben Woodburn out on a loan as well. Who else? Obviously we've moved Bogdan on. Mignolet I'd like to move on. And scrolling through the team real quick in my head. And the other person that I'd move on, but only if he wanted to go and asked to go, is Moreno. If he didn't ask to go with 1 year left on his contract, I'd probably let him run it down at the club and keep him there for cover. But off the top of my head, they're the kind of players I think we should be looking to move on. Matthias says KARIUS is insanely talented, but his confidence is drained. I'm not sure he can heal it. It's going to take a lot. I mean, even as you said, if we all agree on him being insanely talented, which I think is up for debate with some people definitely, I don't think many of us can disagree with you, Matthias, that his confidence is gone. It's absolutely shot. You would have hoped that he'd spend the time away trying to build that confidence back up, but tonight wouldn't have helped. It won't help him with the fans either, and it won't help the manager in his quest to start the season with KARIUS as number 1 and trying to get the fans on board. Cameron says, if we sign a world-class keeper, teams would not want to face us. They really wouldn't. I mean, they really, really wouldn't. And while we're talking about players and signings, actually, I've seen something earlier on that I put into the chat that I wanted to let you guys know about. I'm sure you may have seen this already, but where is it? West Ham have had a £25 million bid turned down for Jamal Lascelles. Somebody who we've seen linked to Liverpool Football Club, somebody who we've had a chat about on here actually on recent streams. So that kind of lets us know that that type of figure isn't acceptable. So you're probably looking at upwards of £30 million if you're looking to bring in someone like Jamal Lascelles. James Pearce has obviously come out and denied the rumours that Liverpool are interested in Paulo Dybala, which, you know, hurt a lot of us because we were on here last night praying that was true. But yeah, look, James Pearce has come out and said that that's not true. More news: Atletico Madrid look close to signing Gelson Martins from Sporting for a fee of around £12 million, and Vieto and Moreira will be heading to Sporting on loan as part of that deal. So that's another player we can possibly tick off the list. But an interesting one, and I don't know if you guys have seen this story because obviously different papers, different parts of the world, but apparently Fenerbahce are interested in signing Gini Wijnaldum. The Turkish outfit A-Spor, which I think is the media outlet that they're talking about here, has suggested that Gini is a little bit worried about his place in the team after the arrival of Fabinho and Keita. And Philip Koku, I believe, is in charge at Fenerbahce at this moment in time. And if you guys remember, Philip Koku was the person who gave Gini Wijnaldum the captain's armband during their time together at PSV. So maybe this is just somebody clutching at straws. Maybe there's something in it. I don't know. But I don't think Liverpool allow Gini Wijnaldum to go anywhere. I think I'm right in saying that after Mo Salah perhaps and Bobby Firmino, that Gini Wijnaldum played the third most games for Liverpool last season. I'm sure that came up in a quiz we did somewhere along the last couple of weeks. So yeah, so he certainly got a lot of game time last year. You can understand where they're coming with the story that he might be a little bit worried about game time with us after signing 2 new midfielders, but he may perhaps get pushed a little bit more forward like he was at Newcastle. And then obviously we've seen the news that Harry Wilson has actually signed his new contract at Liverpool Football Club. You've seen the images, you've seen the stories on LFC TV and stuff, so that's pretty much just a catch up with the little news stories that I'd seen popping around today. I don't think there's anything else really, so I just wanted to go through that before I forgot, because if I went through this entire stream after making out that little bit of news for you guys and didn't read it out, I'd be pretty damn pissed off. Sniper Jewel says it's more than just or confidence issue. When you're not good enough, the players need to be shipped out. And Alan the Cat comes in with Nelly the Elephant. That song is now stuck in my head, mate, so thanks for that one. I'm now going to be going around singing Nelly the Elephant for the entire fucking night. Louis says, I can't believe the people actually believed in Paulo Dybala. I mean, you want to believe though, don't you? I think that's the thing. When you see these type of stories come out, you want to believe. I mean, I know I wanted to believe anyway. I think at the back of my mind, I probably knew it wasn't true, but you do want to believe when you see these stories. Evan says, no way do we sell Genie, and I'm right with you there, Evan. I don't think there's any way at all Liverpool Football Club move on Genie Wijnaldum. I thought he was brilliant for us last season. Steve says, Lallana, keep or sell. Do you know what, mate? I've been struggling on this one a lot, but I'm watching him tonight in the first half for Liverpool against Tranmere. Some of the touches and some of the turns that he made in really confined spaces, he looked head and shoulders above other people on that pitch at times tonight. So he looks sharp. He looks like he's getting back to fitness. I definitely think keep him. I think keep him till at least we see Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain come back and we see where we are around Christmas time in January. But for me, I'd keep him. I mean, I probably would have leaned towards saying sell earlier on in the window, but just watching him and watching him get back to sharpness and just seeing what he's capable of in those tight areas, those little turns, those little balls around the edge and stuff, I'd say what harm is it perhaps to keep him and just see how he gets on fitness-wise. What else have we got? I think a few people are chopping and changing or different views on Lallana. Some are saying sell, some are saying keep. Snap back to reality says Klopp won't last if he continues with KARIUS. Damo says Jesus, keep Genie, only takes an injury or two and a heavy run of games and Genie would be invaluable. And I agree, Damo, mate. I don't want Genie going anywhere. I mean, especially because of a song. I mean, who doesn't love the bit of the Genie Wijnaldum. I'm going around my house singing that a lot, actually. Even my 6-year-old son goes around singing that song at times. So yeah, we should keep him just because of the song anyway, because you know you gotta love a bit of that Genie Wijnaldum song. Except when I'm singing it, so I apologise for having to put you guys through me singing the fucking song, but it's much better than me going around singing Nelly the Elephant anyway. So just be thankful for that one. Joseph Reardon says, Lubac, you're on the Fukin money there, buddy. I know you were going to say them all, but I didn't have to write them down. Cheers. The Bad Elf says, I'd keep Lallana. He was an important player before his injury. I Am Jono says Lallana is finished and he was injured half of the season. And Joseph Reardon thinks he's dead wood. I think that's what I'm reading that one. I think that's what I'm right with what I'm saying there. But interesting. Louis says keep Adam Lallana for backup. Thomas says keep Lallana while Ox is injured, which is pretty much where I was going with this as well. Evan says Lallana suits Klopp's system, deserves another full season and fitness to compete. Craig says, where's that gone? Sorry, bear with me, Craig. I'm going to get back to your comment, buddy. Now I have the Genie Wijnaldum song stuck in my head. Apologies if I've stuck it in any of your heads as well. Where's Craig's comment gone? Sorry guys, I'm scrolling back here trying to find it. So hard trying to keep up with this chat, especially when we have a few different platforms open, so I'm trying to make sure I don't miss anything from Periscope or YouTube either, so just bear with me. My god, I am so far behind on this fucking chat. I just seen Thomas say jump on the like button, people, which I do appreciate, buddy. Thank you for that one. Oh, am I gonna have to give up on this? I cannot find this comment from Craig. Sean Blackmore, I will get to your comment soon, buddy. I promise you I'll get back to it. Where is this comment from Craig? I feel really bad now if I don't get back to this one. I may have to give up. I'm not finding it. I hope I get there soon. I just hate missing people's comments, especially when I start reading them and then the screen moves it up. Yeah, I think I've gone past it. Sorry, Craig. I think I've lost that one. I do apologise, mate. I absolutely hate missing people's comments. So there was one more I'm going to scroll back down to. Oh yeah, there's Connor. We're way back up there. Jesus, didn't realise it was that far gone. What do you guys think of that third kit, by the way? We had a little chat about that last night. I'm waiting for the second it gets released because I'm going to be buying it immediately because it reminds me of that 89 kit. And I think it's quite nice, to be fair. Obviously, I'm not going full kit wanker. I'm just buying the shirt. But I do like it, I have to say. Aaron Lennon thinks Fekir is the next Liverpool captain, which is interesting. I think Jordan Henderson has to stay Liverpool captain personally. I think I did a bit of a spiel on this one on the recent, was it the Cop Council podcast we did this week? Yeah, it was the Cop Council podcast. It was an entire section dedicated to Jordan Henderson and just getting different people's views on him and whether we think he should stay at the club or remain captain. And it seems to be pretty unanimous that everybody feels like he should stay where he is. Right, I'm going to scroll for another second and then I'm going to start working my way down through the chat from there. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to start with Aaron's, and if I've missed your comments, I do apologise. Please whack them back in and I will get through them if I can. Aaron says, just to illustrate what we're up against this season, City are breaking the transfer record to bring in squad edition. Our squad edition is a 13 million quid player. It's tough to argue when you make points that are actually true, mate. I mean, so there's no argument for me on that one. It does just kind of, you look at it, you look at Manchester City again, just zooming in on the areas that they feel they're weak in and going and sorting them, and that seems like the common sense thing to do, and it's the type of thing that I wish we did more and more. It always seems like there has to be a struggle for us, doesn't it? Everything seems like a struggle, a grind and a fight to get to where we want to be, and we often get close and we just fall back away. But you know what, I think this time we're going to do it. I think we will get there. We'll get to the promised land. I think Jurgen Klopp will get us that Premier League title, and I don't think we're that far away. He can work miracles with players. We've seen what he did last season with the squad that he had. So if I am being a bit negative, guys, I don't mean to be. So Advenko says, why have LFC not signed Shaqiri yet? It's looking like it's close, by the way, mate, if that helps in any way, shape or form, because lots of people are saying that it's all over Twitter tonight as well, which, that could be bullshit as well, to be fair. Sarah says, Vida not happening, bad news, Pearce has rubbished this. Well, in this case, Sarah, I would actually thank James Pearce for rubbishing that rumour, because he's absolute shite, Vida. He seems to be one of those players that's having a good World Cup, playing well for his country, but he's not good enough to play for Liverpool Football Club. So I'm grateful that James Pearce has come out and rubbished that one. I think, was it David Maddock as well, I think rubbished it. I am Jono says, Wijnaldum has been crap other than the Roma legs. No, he hasn't. That's plainly just not true, mate. Gini Wijnaldum has been far from crap. If you're just basing his ability on his goal scoring away from home, perhaps, then yeah, there's an argument there that he needs to bang in more goals. But as I said, he's played a shitload of games for Liverpool last season, and to say he's crap, I just think is being a bit too harsh, buddy. With all due respect, I just think you're being a bit too harsh. Lou Back says, Harry Maguire's head could stop a freight train. Yeah, but is he faster than a speeding bullet? Because I now have him in my head as Superman flying along with a big massive head. Steve says, Harry Wilson signed a 5-year deal, good as long as it's not a 5-year loan elsewhere, which does piss me off, I have to say. There's nothing annoys me more than us re-signing and signing up young players and just loaning them or sending them away and not giving them a chance. I hate seeing people's careers stagnate. And I think if you sign for Liverpool Football Club or you renew your contract here, you should get a chance here. So I hope to God he does get a chance. I hope we see Wilson get a run out a few times this season, or else we just have to move him on. It's ridiculous to just keep them and saying, well, maybe one more loan spell, maybe this, maybe that. If they're good enough, keep them. If not, just let them have a career elsewhere. That's where I look at it. Louis says Pearce will say Liverpool will not go in for Shaqiri, and then he will. Alan the Cat says, come on, we've got to sign Maguire. I don't think you get much of an argument from anybody in here in regards to him being a great signing if he was to happen, but can you imagine the type of money Leicester City would ask for him now? Advenko says, it doesn't matter what keeper LFC sign, the goalkeeping coach will turn them into a pile of hot steaming shit. Johnny O'Donnell says, I am Jono, why would we sell Wijnaldum? We have to keep him for squad depth. Alan also says, Alan the Cat says, got to keep him. I am John says, well, one of Wijnaldum or Lallana, I think, needs to go unless they're prepared for no games. I mean, I get where you're coming from in regards to there's a depth of players there in that midfield area. I think we've got 9 first team midfielders off the top of my head, but don't underestimate how many games, buddy, we could have next season. And when you think of the likes of Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain being out, Jordan Henderson being still away at the World Cup, players coming back late from the World Cup, particularly at the start of this season, we're not going to have all the bodies that we will have as the season progresses. So we will need these guys around to start the season off. If we want to hit the ground running, then we got to start getting the points in quickly. We can't let a gap build up between us, Manchester City, or anybody else for that matter. So I think I'd rather Klopp played it safe, and we weren't leaving ourselves a little bit short, perhaps. Lots of people saying that we need to keep Wijnaldum. We just need to keep him. Advenko says keep Genie, sell Lallana since he's 30 years of age. James Doherty says let Mane go, he's hit and miss anyway. Get in Fekir and Brandt. I think I've finally caught back up here. Cool. Now I think I know where I am. So hopefully I can find that comment from earlier on that I was looking for. Skipperdog says, could Fenerbahce afford Genie? He cost us 25 million. We'd want 35 million for him. I can't imagine they could, to be fair. I think it's a very good comment. I mean, they wouldn't have the type of money that we'd want for Genie Wijnaldum, or the type of money that he's worth, if we're being honest as well, because he's a very good, solid midfielder. So I'm right with you. I think they'd try and get a cut price deal, and there's no way they're getting him for the type of money they'd want. Lubac says if we buy Fekir, then Lallana might go in January, and I absolutely wouldn't rule out Lallana maybe going in January. I just think we need him until at least till Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain is back fighting fit. The Bad Elf says I'd keep Lallana. He was an important player for us before his injury. I am Jono says Lallana is finished and he was injured half of last season. I remember reading that comment earlier, actually. That's where I am. There's Craig's comment. Lallana at peak fitness and sharpness has to be kept. What else have we got here then? That's the comment I was trying to get back to earlier on, guys. So apologies, Craig, it took me so long, but I finally found my way back to it. I am Jono says Shaqiri is coming in too. Connor says Lallana's going nowhere. Kloppo absolutely loves him, and that is true. I mean, he definitely does love Adam Lallana, and so does Jordan Henderson. Let's not forget that. I mean, they're their BFFs forever and have their pajama parties and hit each other with pillows and all that type of stuff when they're on away days. The Junior says we wouldn't make 25 million back on him this season anyway. I think that's in relation to Genie Wijnaldum. I think he's worth it. Personally, I think he's worth every penny of 25 million. Particularly the way the market's gone. It's crazy. Alan the Cat says Trump, Trump, Trump. You missed him the other night. He was in here. Mr. Trump does drop into the chat from time to time. He doesn't talk politics. He just comes in to talk about the Reds. Phil says Shaqiri timing is very convenient. Announcing this so people will talk about this rather than the KARIUS cock-up. It's been known to happen, buddy, hasn't it? I mean, as cynical as we can be at times, these type of things aren't done by accident. Not all the time, obviously, but if bad news happens, if there's a bad narrative out there, then obviously they're going to want to release some good news to try and cheer the fans up a little bit. But I don't think many people are going to let the whole KARIUS thing go that easily, unfortunately. Escapado says can't sell English players, will need more after this season. Think the new rules coming in increases the minimum numbers for home national players. Sean Blackmore says I can't help but think Klopp is being too loyal to where KARIUS is concerned. I think many people would agree with you there, Sean, to be fair. Squism says cheers to the lad who fucked up Firmino's tequila song. Now we'll never forget his drink drive charge. Who plays Shaqiri or Lallana, asks Alan the Cat. It's a tough question. I mean, if you're giving them both to me fully fighting fit, both at the top of their game, I'm probably having Lallana personally. But it's a tough question, actually. I can see why people would go either way on that one. Louis says Van Dijk and De Ligt, thoughts. I think that would make very, 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 very many people happy. He's only, I think, is De Ligt only 18 or 19 years of age or something. So if you were to bring him in, even as a project, and just introduce him gradually over the course of a couple of seasons, although for the money he'd cost, he'd probably have to start soon enough. But can you imagine that partnership going forward, having them playing together in the Dutch national team as well? It would be awesome, and I'd be all for that, and I think most of us would. Sarah asks, is Lallana going to get the playing time with all the midfielders that we have? I think, look, it's probably no lie to say that some people's game time will be reduced this season, with Fabinho coming in, with Keita coming in. When Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain comes back to fitness, we've Henderson, we've got Milner, we've got Wijnaldum, we've got Lallana. Grujic as it stands is still at the club. I'm probably missing somebody else here out of that midfield, a really obvious player. But look, there is a lot of players there, but there's also a lot of games, Sarah. So I think a lot comes down to how we're getting on in the season, because it's easier to keep players happy when you're in a winning team and when things are going well. It's when things aren't going well, I suppose, people start knocking on the manager's door and asking, look, boss, am I going to get a game? So, look, I trust Klopp to make the right decision there, but I'd rather we kept players than left ourselves short. I think I said that earlier on, and I kind of stand over that one. SJC says, get him out now. I gather that that's in relation to KARIUS, but I may be wrong, so if I am, let me know. The Bad Elf says, Lallana and Shaqiri play different positions. Junior says, future of Holland and France. Lots of people saying it'd be a solid partnership. Lubac says, I think Shaqiri will be an impact player to give us legs in the last 25 minutes. I think you're right. I think he would be brought in for those games where we're struggling. Those times where it's getting to 65, 70 minutes and we're just not being able to break down a team, and we're looking to feed more balls to the back post, or trying to get that one killer pass or one killer cross to get a breakthrough. So I get you. Johnny O'Donnell says, who's on YouTube? I don't know what you mean there, buddy, so I'm going to have to pass over that one. The Junior says, Aaron never stops, king of Fekir propaganda. SJC says, KARIUS is a clown, get rid of him immediately. I think we get your point, buddy. Look, there's not many of us in here who think he's the answer, but yeah, it's frustrating, I know, but just try and be polite, shall we say. Okay, Van Dijk and Upamecano would be better as De Ligt plays in a weak league. Zaha is the same price as Mahrez, supposedly, so avoid. I mean, that is mad, isn't it? I mean, he's turning down 125 grand a week, I think, at Crystal Palace, Zaha, for that new contract. So, again, I'd be amazed to see how much money Crystal Palace are going to want if, indeed, they do move him on. He has to be in and around the same money as Mahrez, doesn't he? He has to be around 60 million quid. He's a very good footballer, Zaha. And I'm sure he'd like one more big move in his career, because he didn't quite work out at Manchester United. Thomas Boland says, Klopp showed his loyalty to KARIUS and he cocked up, now the ball is in Klopp's court. Nick Ross says 30 clean sheets from KARIUS this season. It's very optimistic for any goalkeeper, but you know what, I love the positivity, buddy, keep it coming. Lubac says Grujic is quality. Damo says, yes, loving Thierry Henry out of the World Cup. I mean, he kind of wins both ways though, Damo, doesn't he? He went out with Belgium, obviously, but then he has got France going through to the final, so it was a bit of a win-win situation for the old handball cheating bastard, wasn't it? Joseph says, what's up with Grujic? Is he out injured? Not that I know of. Is he injured, guys? No, he's at the World Cup, wasn't he? Sorry, he was at the World Cup, so he's still on his holidays after Serbia went out of the World Cup, I think. So it'll probably be another week or so before we see him back. Retro Unilim IK Steve says we're looking for Anthony Rebic from Eintracht Frankfurt. And there was actually something else in the media tonight. It says Liverpool are at the head of the pack to sign €25 million winger Marco Piacca from Juventus, according to ESPN. Fiorentina are also apparently interested in the Croatian winger. So I'm not sure if you guys seen that one. So Piaka from, and again, if I pronounced that one incorrectly, I'm sorry, from Juventus, 25 million euros, ESPN linking Liverpool and Fiorentina with a move for the young Croatian. Dortmund are looking at Zaha. Oh, I'd imagine he'd cost serious bucks. I know they did just sell Yarmolenko, didn't they? So they have got a space in the squad. Alan the Cat says, nope, just a cat with an excellent cat name. I had a rabbit called Stuart. Okay, so I guess his cat's called Alan then. Joseph says, is Grealish not going to join the Spuds? Well, he ain't fucking joining Liverpool. Anyway, that's a brilliant bit of news, thank God. Let him join Spurs. He's just not good enough, to be fair, and he's not going to develop into the player that he thinks in his own head he's going to become. Gillian says, I have a concern that the KARIUS out problem is going to develop into a Klopp out problem. I really hope this doesn't happen. I don't think Klopp has any options at this time. I really hope, I sincerely hope, Gillian, that doesn't happen, and I know you do as well. It is an issue that he has to know is there. Kloppo has to know that the fans think that KARIUS isn't up to it. And look, if we can see it, he has to know. And as much as we know he likes to stay loyal to players and that, he's not going to fuck up his own career or his legacy at Liverpool Football Club by letting this one pan out. So I think we're going to have to give him the benefit of the doubt and see what happens come August the 9th. See who we're starting with. I think it's August the 9th. 9th or 10th, something around that. Junior says Grujic is preparing for the new season in LFC gear. Saw him earlier on. The Junior says Harry Maguire's head is bigger than Tottenham Hotspur. And Lubac says Piaka is a decent young player. Thomas Boland says don't kill me, but Andros Townsend, that lad's got an engine. I'm gonna have to pass. No thank you on Andros Townsend. And I don't think you're the first one to mention him, Thomas. I think somebody brought him up the other night actually. Yeah, for me he just hasn't done it. He hasn't lived up to his early potential. Alan the Cat says Ojo a great problem tonight. He was so determined, wasn't he? I mean, he set up a goal and he took a second goal very well. He didn't give up on it and went out, brought the ball back in, ran into the box and hit a low shot past the goalkeeper. So yeah, he looked sharp tonight. It's great to see the young guys banging in a few goals. Fair play to them, and it can only be a good thing, and it can only give the manager a headache, as you've said. Mr. Sweeten, I don't know what your name is. We're just calling you Mr. Sweet. True, but I don't think Townsend will be an improvement on what we already have. Junior thinks we can do better than Piaka. Lubac says, Craig, what would you say if we got Joe Hart, Grealish and Vidal? Or Vida, sorry. Joe Hart, Grealish and Vida. I would say, what the fuck is Jurgen Klopp smoking? And I'd probably lose my damn mind. I mean, I'd be kicked off YouTube within an hour because of the language that would be coming out of my mouth. That would probably be the worst window we could have. I mean, you'd be going back to the days of when we had the ostrich in charge and we were signing Joe Cole, Milan Jovanovic, fucking Christian Poulsen. Who else did we bring in that fateful summer? I can't remember who else. Oh, Danny Wilson, wasn't it? Yeah, so I'd put it up there with that type of transfer window if that's what we ended up with. Bill says Klopp is going to have some tough decisions to make if some of these young lads continue their good form in pre-season. Ojo really impressed me today. Kent was good, as was Camacho. And I agree, Bill. And how great is it for Klopp to have these headaches? We all said we want to see these young guys come through and progress, and if they keep doing so, then it can only be good for Liverpool Football Club. What else have we got? Ojo has always looked class, even under Rodgers. The Junior says the ostrich. Yeah, I don't know if it was the ostrich or the emu. I can't remember which one he was called, but he does look like an emu, I think, to be fair. Damo says Andros Townsend reminds me of ex-Villa winger Tony Daly, who was once described in a match as an unguided missile. Oh, that's brilliant. Junior says bring the bloke out of retirement. Barini was bought for just about 4 million. Do you remember when he signed Barini? Actually, Roger said he's a player that the fans are going to be delighted with. That he's going to really excite the fans. Yeah, that was a bit of a disappointment, wasn't it? I mean, I can't believe, by the way, that he got a move to AC Milan. That was absolutely nuts. Bring Stewie Downing back. No, God no, forever no, Jesus no. The junior says, I met Barini in the LFC store once, best day of my life. Interesting. Paul Konchesky, Jesus Paul. Paul Konchesky says, another Hodgkin superb piece of business. We had to put up with his L one as well at the time, Mr. Turner. Let's not forget about that. His mother was quite funny at the time on social media. Louis says, Jay Spearing is a goat. I do like little Jay Spearing, to be fair. I'm glad to see his career still ongoing, isn't he? Bolton, is he still at Bolton? Thomas Boland says, your mission tomorrow, Craig, scout the league for a keeper. Best of my knowledge, Utrecht in Holland has a promising lad. Yeah, I'd happily do that. I'd happily go and scout for a goalkeeper, but we know who's out there. We do know. I'm sure the club know as well. I mean, look, the club aren't fools. The club are going to have probably a list as long as their arm for Jurgen Klopp, but the final decision does rest with the gaffer. Sniper Jewel says, Barini tried to compensate lacking skills with insane work rate. He reminds me very much of John Achterberg does. He's kind of like a poor man's Dirk Cow. I think it's probably the way I'd describe Fabio Barini. Just like a Dirk Cow light. Get VAR to the Premier League, says I am Jono. I think they're going to wait for one more year and they'll see it introduced next year, buddy. I think they said they just wanted to give it another year to see how it progresses around Europe and to trial it out before they introduce it to the Premier League. But I'd be amazed if we don't see it for the 1920 season. I think it's in La Liga this season though, so with the amount of diving and shit that goes on in that league, it's going to be very interesting. And you know what? Slightly off topic, but where we're talking about VAR and I kind of went off on a tangent about La Liga. How strong is La Liga anymore? I mean, we're after seeing Cristiano Ronaldo, although in decline. We've seen Cristiano Ronaldo leave the league. We're left there with an aging Messi and aging Suarez. Obviously a young Phil Coutinho who's gone into Barcelona. They aren't really the league of superstars anymore, are they? Interesting to see what happens there, and no doubt that we're gonna see some money splashed by Real Madrid this summer. I see Louis' comment there, and that's why I said don't a second ago. I was about to just cut myself off. Did you see Mighty Red, Craig? You know my thoughts on that mighty prick. Me and Mighty Red don't see eye to eye. I don't see the point of him. I just don't. I really don't. I mean, if I was there with my son and I seen Mighty Red coming up, I'd say, Lucas, give him a kick in the balls. Go on, Daddy'll let you. He won't give out. Junior says, Mighty Red, what a hero. Joe Allen was a grafter and half decent, says Lubac. I had a lot of time for Joe Allen, to be fair. I thought he was a tidy footballer. Kept things ticking along. Wasn't the best in the world, but I mean, he's a very good Premier League footballer. David says, I was at the game, Craig, mate. Fabinho seemed a bit dodgy at times, but still think he'll be good. I think he's probably just getting to grips, David, with what Klopp wants and the players around him. And look, he hasn't even got to play alongside a lot of the players he'll be playing with week in, week out. But I get you. I get where you're coming from. Escapado says, we just need to sign Alisson and Fekir and be happy. I can't see where we are in regards to the subscribers, guys. I know Connor said we're fairly close to 1,300 subscribers earlier on. So if you're watching the stream, you're watching it on YouTube, you're watching it on Twitter, you're watching it on Periscope, please do jump over, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, hit that like button, give us a thumbs up, help us grow the channel, be part of the solution, and find out what the fuck this Diet Chav stuff we keep talking about is, because the more you come in, the more you get to join into the chat here, you'll know what the whole Diet Chav joke is about. So thank you for watching, by the way. VAR will be the commercials in football now, and I kind of get where you're coming from there, Nick. It is just one step away, isn't it, from having like the VAR decision sponsored by Rolex or something along those lines, which we don't want. But I get your comment. I get where you're coming from. Steve says, if I saw Mighty Red coming up near my kids, I'd phone the police. I just assumed that it was what's the guy's name? Piers Morgan. I just say to myself, it's Piers Morgan inside that suit. It's okay to kick him in the balls. Bring back Ryan Babel, says I am Jono. Joseph Reardon says Jan Mulby. I think I'm going to finish up in about 10 minutes, guys. So if there's anything you want to have a chat about, lash it into the chat there. We'll finish up with it tonight. If there's a subject I've missed out on or something that you wanted to have a chat about, just put it in there and we'll get the last 10 minutes over. Escapado says VAR sponsored by Specsavers, which yeah, it's a good shout, to be fair. It's probably the best one you could have. Alan the Cat says, you know he deserves the big four: shoe, car, clothing line, soft drink, the 4 jewels of the celebrity endorsement dollar. I fucking love Jerry Maguire, Alan. I fucking love it. Absolutely love it. So I got that straight away, got that reference. Yeah, love it. I think wasn't that was his wife, wasn't it? If I remember correctly, that was his wife talking to Jerry Maguire. But I love that film. One of my favourite films of all time. Did you know a rabbit's head weighs 5 pounds? I think that's what the young lad says at one point. Ben Duffel says, any updates on Fekir, Craig? Not yet, buddy, I'm afraid. Just more guesswork from lots of people, but France will be finished up on Sunday, so I'm sure as soon as that's over, within the next week, we'll probably be hearing some stuff. So I think we're all just going to have to sit on our hands until the World Cup's over and just wait and see what happens. The Junior says Mighty Red is a goat. He'd be a fucking dead goat if I was anywhere around, to be fair. I don't like that smug looking prick. Sean Blackmore says West Ham are doing great business, everyone. They're doing very good business, to be fair. They really are. Brought in a good manager as well, so it will be interesting to see how West Ham get on this season. The Junior says talk about Harry Maguire's head, please. There's a lot of people in this chat very obsessed with Harry Maguire's head. It is a mammoth head, to be fair. All he's short of doing is putting the unicorn stalk on the front of his head. So he goes up to head the ball in the semi-final of the World Cup, and as he's going to head it, this unicorn stalk comes out of this massive head and bursts the ball. And do you know what's next, actually? What is it in America where they have all the presidents carved into the rock in the mountain? Mount Rushmore, isn't it? Yeah, so next we're probably going to have an English version of Mount Rushmore, but it's just going to be one massive version of Harry Maguire's head. And if they win the World Cup, he'll probably have a crown on his head, and he'll probably be Sir Slabhead by the end of the World Cup. Damo says, sounds like Camacho had a great game tonight at right back. Had played right wing back for Gerrard. I think he was very involved. I seen most of the first half, and look, he did look very involved. I think he set up one of the goals as well, if memory serves me correct. I love his name as well. Camacho is just a great name. Lou Back says Harry Maguire would stop a tsunami with one headbutt. That's brilliant. We could make like a superhero out of him. Harry Maguire, sponsored by Diet Chav. When Harry's feeling down about himself, he opens a can of Diet Chav and the world suddenly seems a better place. He could be the man. Harry Maguire could be the man to take Diet Chav on to the next level. Harry Maguire to score a hat-trick with his head. Harry Maguire's head is huge. It's like Sputnik. He'll cry into his wee pillow as well. Oh, there's my fucking alarm that I still don't know where in the room it is, but it goes off every night at midnight. My wife has a watch buried in this room somewhere, and it goes off at midnight every night, and I still can't find the fucking thing. Alan the Cat says, Cliffs of Dover, Maguire's head. Imagine that sight. You're sailing into England, the promised land. You're coming from Europe to England. You've fought your whole way across from Africa through Eastern Europe, all the way across. You finally get the ferry from France over. You're coming into Dover. You see the fucking Harry Maguire's head staring at you on the cliffs, and you just tell the captain to turn that motherfucker around and head straight back to France. Connor says we should release a book of Harry Maguire jokes. There definitely has to be a Harry Maguire t-shirt, Connor, going up on the Redbubble store somewhere. We have to come up with some type of Harry Maguire Diet Chav style t-shirt. Junior says that's an idea about the Harry Maguire's head jokes. Oh, I love the fact that we have these chats, guys. I love the fact that this type of stuff is in the chat. It absolutely makes my week, coming on here and getting a laugh at you guys about things like this. Harry Maguire will burst the ball tomorrow with his head when he scores. Damo says playing a unicorn will be handy in case when he beach balls ends up in the penalty box. Do you remember that? Actually, did you guys see on one of the quiz shows before I can't remember which one it was, but one lady was asked what was it appeared on the field during one of Liverpool's games against Sunderland or something, and the options were on the screen were a beach ball, something else, and a fucking ice cream van, which I think was the option the lady picked at the time. She chose an ice cream van being on the field during the game between Liverpool and Sunderland. God bless her. Steve says Mount Rushmore with Harry, Terry and Brucey. And Brucey with his broken nose, Steve. That's very important. You can't have Brucey with his fixed nose. It has to be with his fucked up broken nose. Lubac says Harry Maguire could sort that alarm out, Craig. He defo could. I mean, he just the aura around his head and the way it would move tectonic plates and stuff. It would probably just crack the screen of the watch and it would probably just break. So, yeah, I'd say he definitely would. I mean, Harry Maguire's head could be... Oh, here we go. Hang on. Lubac says Harry Maguire could beat Chuck Norris with one headbutt. Oh, Harry Maguire crossed with Chuck Norris jokes. Now, that is the way forward. Chuck Norris wears Harry Maguire pyjamas. Defo dressing up as Harry Maguire on Halloween, by the way. Definitely. Although I'm not buying a Leicester shirt. I'll have to come up with some other way of letting people know I'm Harry Maguire. But I'm defo dressing up as Harry Maguire on Halloween. Connor says it was the chase. It was beach ball, sunbathing tourists and ice cream van. Oh, the Junior says Harry Maguire would be a killer in the UFC. Pure headbutts galore. Alan the Cat saying good night. Good night, mate. Thanks for joining. Good night, Escapado. Sorry, I think it was Escapado saying good night. Joseph Reardon says, imagine him doing a live chat. You'd never see the lovely pictures behind your head, Craig. And the screen would be dark as well, because, I mean, I imagine his forehead would be over the camera. You'd have to have, like, I'm in my bedroom here, so we'd have to have the camera 12 foot down the other end of the room, and you'd have to be sitting, like, on a little stool down this end of the room, like a naughty boy in the corner, and you just see this gigantic, big monstrosity of a head down the other end of the room. Sarah says, right, I'm off. Night, guys. Craig and Connor. Night, Sarah. Thanks for joining again. Paul Turner says, are you getting ahead with the Harry Maguire chat, Craig? Maguire versus The Rock. I mean, they just get better and better, don't they? Steve says Maguire gives good head, apparently. I'll have to trust your word for that one, Steve. Not something I've ever experienced personally. The Junior says rate Harry Maguire's head 1 to 10. It's a fucking 11. It's defo an 11. There's not even an argument. He gets a bonus point. Sean Blackmore says, how would Harry Maguire look with Trump's hair? Now that would be an image. That's a belter, Sean. That would be an image. Imagine that one. And not just Trump's hair, but Trump's hair after the wind has kind of flopped it all over the shop. Damo says, Chuck Norris in 1 Million Ways to Die by Harry Maguire's head. Oh, Jesus, I could read these all night. Ant says, Maguire's head could have saved both world wars. Yeah, they probably could have. It was a sunbathing German, actually. Connor's correcting himself. The Junior's off as well. Good night, Junior. Thanks for joining, mate. And you know what, guys? I'd probably call it a night myself there. I will be on straight after the England game tomorrow night. So if you guys are English and you're watching the game, best of luck to you. I genuinely mean that. I hope we're on here tonight and you guys are celebrating, but no matter what happens, I will chat to you guys tomorrow night. If you're watching this on Periscope, if you're watching this on Twitter, you haven't jumped over, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, please do. If you're watching this on playback, please do the same. To you amazing guys in the chat who join in every night with Connor, myself, Cash, come on here, make our weeks, keep the chat going, keep the LFC fun going. Thank you from the bottom of all our heart. Thank you very much. I will chat to you guys tomorrow. Up the motherfucking Reds.